Maya Torres stared through the transparent aluminum viewport as the transport ship approached Helios Maximum Security Station. The massive structure hung in geosynchronous orbit above Europa, Jupiter's ice-covered moon, casting long shadows across its frozen surface. Even from a distance, she could see the facility's imposing features: automated defense turrets, electromagnetic shield generators, and maintenance drones perpetually crawling across its hull like mechanical insects. She wasn't supposed to be here. As the former lead engineer for the Titan Defense Initiative, Maya had spent her career building systems to protect humanity's outer colonies. Now, those same security principles were about to keep her imprisoned. The irony wasn't lost on her. Prisoner 847, barked Officer Kenzo, a stern-faced woman with cybernetic eye augmentations. Face forward. Maya turned away from the viewport, the magnetic restraints around her wrists humming with barely contained energy. Her trial had lasted exactly 6 minutes. The evidence against her seemed irrefutable: security footage showing her downloading classified weapons schematics, bank transfers from known terrorist groups, communications with hostile factions. All fabricated, of course, but fabricated so perfectly that even her own lawyer had advised her to plead guilty. The transport ship shuddered as it passed through Helios Station's outer security field. Maya felt the familiar tingle of molecular scanners sweeping through her body, searching for hidden weapons, unauthorized tech, or signs of genetic modification. She had helped design similar systems during her military days. Back then, she had believed in their purpose: keeping the wrong people out. Now she was one of the wrong people being kept in. The docking procedure was automated, removing any chance of human error or corruption. Mechanical arms extended from the station, grasping the transport ship and guiding it into a reinforced airlock. Through the viewport, Maya could see teams of armed guards assembling in the receiving area, their powered armor gleaming under the harsh industrial lighting. "Welcome to Helios," announced a smooth artificial voice as the airlock cycled. "You are now property of the United Earth Government Corrections Department. Any attempt to escape will result in immediate termination." The transport ship's cargo bay opened with a hydraulic hiss. Officer Kenzo roughly pushed Maya forward, joining a line of new inmates being processed. Each prisoner wore the same gray jumpsuit and restraints, but Maya quickly noted their differences. A massive man with military-grade muscle grafts. A woman whose eyes seemed to shift color, suggesting illegal chrome augmentations. A thin figure whose skin had an odd metallic sheen, probably a black market synthetic. "Step forward for processing," commanded a robotic voice. Maya approached a scanner arch, similar to ones she had helped develop. The difference was that these were calibrated not just to detect threats, but to gather intimate biological data: heart rate, stress levels, neural patterns. Everything about her would be monitored, quantified, and analyzed for signs of potential rebellion. "State your name and conviction for the record," ordered a guard whose face was hidden behind a mirrored tactical visor. "Maya Torres. Convicted of treason and selling military secrets." The words tasted bitter in her mouth. "Sentence: life imprisonment without possibility of parole," the guard read from a holoscreen. "Given your background in military engineering, you have been designated high risk. You will be housed in Block D, Maximum Security Wing." Maya was led through a series of automated security checkpoints, each more sophisticated than the last. Retinal scanners, quantum encryption fields, AI-controlled drone patrols. She recognized most of the technology, having worked with similar systems during her career. But there were new additions, security measures she had never encountered before. The station was a perpetually evolving organism of surveillance and control. Block D was a sterile maze of reinforced cells, each one a self-contained unit with its own life support and security systems. Maya's assigned cell was barely large enough for a narrow bed and basic sanitation unit. The walls were made of smart materials that could become transparent for guard observation or opaque for prisoner privacy, an illusion of dignity controlled entirely by her captors. "Cell 847 secured," announced the prison AI as the door sealed behind her. The magnetic restraints deactivated automatically, retracting into recessed wall panels. Maya rubbed her wrists, already planning her next move. She had spotted dozens of potential weaknesses during her processing, minor gaps in surveillance coverage, slight delays in security protocols, patterns in guard rotations. But she knew better than to act on them immediately. The first few days were crucial. New prisoners were watched more closely, tested with subtle provocations, analyzed for signs of resistance. Maya lay on the thin mattress, staring at the ceiling as she organized her thoughts. She had been framed by someone with extensive knowledge of military security systems and access to classified protocols. Someone wanted her skills locked away in this orbital fortress. The question was, why go to such elaborate lengths to imprison her instead of simply eliminating her? The answer came to her as she drifted off to sleep. They didn't just want her imprisoned, they wanted her here specifically, in humanity's most sophisticated detention facility. She wasn't just an inmate, she was a resource, a tool to be used for some larger purpose. And that meant her skills were still valuable to someone. Maya smiled slightly in the darkness. Every prison, no matter how advanced, had fundamental flaws built into its design. The need for maintenance access. The requirement for human oversight. The impossibility of perfect redundancy. She had spent her career exploiting such weaknesses to test military facilities. Now she would use that same expertise to plan something unprecedented, an escape from humanity's most secure prison. But first, she needed to understand the true purpose behind her incarceration. Someone had gone to great lengths to put her here, and she intended to find out why. The game was rigged, but Maya had always excelled at changing the rules. They had locked away one of the military's best security experts in a high-tech prison. Their mistake was assuming the security systems would contain her, rather than provide her with the tools for her liberation. As the station's night cycle dimmed the lights in her cell, Maya began mentally mapping everything she had observed. Every security protocol, every guard rotation, every maintenance schedule. Helios Station was a machine of countless moving parts, all working in precise harmony. But even the most perfect machine could be dismantled, if you knew exactly where to apply pressure. The game had begun. Maya just hoped she could solve the puzzle before whoever framed her decided she had outlived her usefulness. The Inner Circle. 2 weeks into her imprisonment, Maya had established a routine. Every morning she would exercise in her cell, maintaining her strength while observing the guard rotations through the transparent walls. During mandatory yard time, she would walk the perimeter, counting the seconds between drone sweeps. In the mess hall, she would study her fellow inmates, identifying the power players and potential allies. The prison's social hierarchy became clear quickly. At the top was Victor Novak, a former corporate security chief serving time for orchestrating a massive data theft. He controlled most of the contraband flowing through the station, aided by a network of corrupt guards. Below him were various faction leaders, Grace Chen, who ran the prison's black market electronics trade, Marcus Reed, an ex-military contractor who protected weaker inmates for favors, and the mysterious figure known only as Ghost, who supposedly had access to the prison's communication systems. Maya was carefully positioning herself between these power centers when she noticed something odd. During the night cycle, certain security cameras would shift their focus for exactly 2.3 seconds, a deviation from standard sweep patterns. More intriguingly, these adjustments corresponded with unusual power fluctuations in Block C. "You're asking dangerous questions," a voice whispered during her afternoon maintenance duty. Maya turned to find a tall, thin man with silver-flecked hair working on an adjacent panel. His jumpsuit identified him as prisoner 451, James Cooper, former AI systems architect. "The cameras aren't malfunctioning," Cooper continued quietly, his hands moving methodically over the circuitry. "They're being redirected. Someone's using the blind spots to move things through the station. Things that even Novak doesn't know about." Maya kept her expression neutral as she processed this information. "Why tell me?" Because you're different, Cooper replied. Most people in here are criminals who got caught. You're an engineer who got framed. And I think I know why. Before he could elaborate, an alert sounded through the maintenance bay. Unauthorized conversation detected. Return to assigned tasks immediately. The AI's voice carried a subtle threat. Maya and Cooper separated, but not before he slipped something into her hand, a small circuit board barely larger than her thumbnail. That night, in the privacy of her cell, Maya examined Cooper's gift. It was a modified data chip, the kind used in the prison's maintenance drones. With some careful modifications, it could potentially intercept secure communications. The question was, why would a former AI architect have access to restricted hardware? The answer came 3 days later when Maya witnessed a seemingly impossible event. During the midnight shift change, a maintenance drone malfunctioned near the high-security medical bay. As guards rushed to contain the situation, Maya noticed Officer Kenzo quietly escorting someone through the temporarily abandoned corridor, Director Harrison Wells himself, the warden of Helios Station. Wells shouldn't have been anywhere near Block D at that hour. More importantly, the drone's malfunction had created a perfect blind spot in the security coverage, one that matched the pattern Maya had observed earlier. This wasn't a coincidence, it was a carefully orchestrated operation. Using Cooper's chip, Maya began intercepting fragments of encrypted communications. Most were standard prison operations, but occasionally she caught pieces of something else, references to Project Oracle, requisition orders for quantum computing components, and mysterious power allocations to supposedly abandoned sections of the station. The pieces started coming together when Maya spotted Grace Chen passing a guard a familiar-looking device, a neural interface module identical to ones Maya had helped develop for military AI systems. The same type of technology she had been accused of selling to terrorists. They're building something here, Cooper confirmed during another carefully timed maintenance encounter. Something that requires military-grade AI architecture. That's why they needed you out of the way, you would have recognized the components they're smuggling through military channels. Maya's mind raced with implications. Helios wasn't just a prison, it was a cover for something bigger. The highest security facility in the solar system, where suspicious activities could be hidden behind layers of classification and restricted access. The perfect place to develop forbidden technology away from prying eyes. But Maya still didn't have proof, and she was running out of time. During her latest covert observation of the medical bay, she had spotted Wells meeting with a figure she recognized, General Amanda Cruz, her former superior who had testified against her at the trial. Their presence meant the project was nearing completion. We need to move faster, she told Cooper during their next maintenance shift. Whatever they're building, it's almost operational. Once they don't need the prison as cover anymore, they'll initiate Protocol Zero, Cooper finished grimly. Total facility purge. Every inmate, every guard who knows too much, all evidence erased in an unfortunate reactor malfunction. Maya had suspected as much, but hearing it confirmed sent a chill through her. She wasn't just planning an escape anymore, she was racing to prevent a mass murder. The question was, who could she trust? Cooper seemed genuine, but his knowledge of the prison systems was suspiciously thorough. Grace Chen had access to critical components but was notoriously mercenary. Even Victor Novak, with his network of corrupt guards, might be compromised. As Maya lay in her cell that night, watching the cameras perform their predictable dance, she realized she had missed something obvious. The prison security systems weren't just for keeping people in, they were for keeping something else out. Something that even the most hardened criminals feared. The next morning, as Maya entered the mess hall, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Emergency lights cast red shadows across panic-stricken faces as the prison AI announced, "Warning. Containment breach detected in Block E. This is not a drill. All personnel initiate lockdown procedures immediately." Maya smiled grimly. She had been wondering what was hidden in the restricted Block E. Now she would find out, assuming she survived the next few hours. The perfect storm. Chaos erupted in the mess hall as guards rushed to implement containment protocols. Through the transparent walls, Maya watched security teams in heavy assault gear converging on Block E. The prison AI's warnings became increasingly urgent, multiple breaches detected. Biohazard containment failing. All personnel evacuate Blocks D through F immediately. Maya seized her opportunity in the confusion. As inmates were herded toward evacuation routes, she slipped away from the main group, using the blind spots she had memorized to avoid detection. Cooper's modified data chip proved invaluable, allowing her to bypass emergency lockdowns that would have otherwise trapped her. The closer she got to Block E, the more signs of violence she encountered. Walls bore deep scratches from something with immense strength. Security doors had been torn from their frames. Most disturbing were the drops of liquid that sizzled and pitted the metal floor, some kind of highly corrosive substance. "I was wondering when you'd show up," Cooper's voice came from a darkened maintenance shaft. He emerged wearing a stolen guard's protective gear, carrying an extra suit. "You'll need this where we're going." Maya accepted the gear but kept her distance. "You knew this would happen." "I knew they couldn't contain it forever," Cooper replied, checking the seal on his helmet. Project Oracle isn't just an AI system, it's an attempt to merge artificial intelligence with biological components. They've been experimenting on inmates, trying to create the perfect hybrid organism. But their latest test subject proved more resilient than expected. The implications hit Maya like a physical blow. The neural interfaces Grace Chen was smuggling, the restricted medical bay, the mysterious power fluctuations, it all pointed to massive computing power needed for real-time biological integration. They're building living weapons. Weapons that can think, adapt, and evolve, Cooper confirmed. And now their prize specimen has broken free. A bestial roar echoed through the corridors, followed by the staccato of automatic weapons fire. Maya and Cooper pressed themselves against a wall as something massive moved past their position, a grotesque fusion of synthetic and organic components, its partially transparent skin revealing pulsing circuitry beneath. "That's what they wanted your expertise for," Cooper whispered. "Your work on military security systems wasn't just about keeping people out, it was about keeping things in." They needed someone who understood both containment and AI architecture. Maya watched the creature disappear around a corner, its movements displaying terrifying intelligence. "Why help me expose this? What's your real role here?" Cooper's expression darkened. "Because I helped create this abomination. I designed the base AI architecture, believing it would be used for medical research. By the time I realized the truth, it was too late. They framed me for corporate espionage and locked me away, where I could continue my work under closer supervision." Another explosion rocked the station. Emergency bulkheads began slamming shut as the prison AI initiated higher-level containment protocols. Maya knew they had minutes at most before the entire block was sealed off, or worse. "The central lab," she said. "That's where they're keeping the project data?" Cooper nodded. "But it's behind military-grade security. Even with the current chaos, you'd need high-level authorization to dash. To access the kind of classified systems I helped design." Maya smiled grimly. "They brought me here because I know these systems inside and out. Time to make that work against them." They fought their way through the deteriorating block, avoiding both security teams and the rampaging hybrid. Maya's knowledge of system architecture proved invaluable as she bypassed or disabled security measures. Cooper's familiarity with the project helped them avoid the most dangerous areas where other test subjects were housed. Finally, they reached the central lab. The scene inside confirmed Maya's worst fears. Dozens of stasis pods lined the walls, each containing a partially transformed inmate. Holographic displays showed progressive mutation charts, neural mapping data, and combat efficiency projections. "Download everything," Maya ordered, accessing a terminal while Cooper stood guard. Project specs, personnel files, authorization chains, anything that proves who's behind this. You don't understand, Cooper said, his voice suddenly different. We're not here to expose the project. We're here to save it. Maya turned to find Cooper's gun leveled at her head. Beyond him, she saw General Cruz and Warden Wells entering the lab, accompanied by armed guards. I really am sorry about this, Cooper continued. But Project Oracle is too important to abandon. The hybridization process is nearly perfected. Once we integrate your neural architecture expertise, we can finally create soldiers that combine human ingenuity with machine precision. And eliminate everyone who knows too much in a tragic containment accident, Maya finished. She noticed her suit's radiation warning light was blinking. The station's reactor was becoming unstable, deliberately or as a result of the chaos, she couldn't tell. Your trial wasn't just about getting you out of the way, General Cruz explained. It was about testing you. We needed to see how you would handle imprisonment, how your mind would work under pressure. And you performed beautifully. Maya's fingers moved subtly over the terminal behind her back. There's just one problem with your plan. I'm not the same engineer who designed those security systems. Prison changes people. Makes them think differently about locks. Her hand found the command she needed. And consequences. She hit the key, and everything went dark. In the sudden darkness, Maya moved. She had memorized the lab's layout during her brief time at the terminal, and while her captors were momentarily blinded, she was already in motion. The emergency lighting kicked in seconds later, casting everything in a blood-red glow, but by then she had already disabled Cooper with a precise strike to his throat and taken his weapon. Security override Gamma 70. General Cruz shouted, but nothing happened. Maya allowed herself a small smile as she took cover behind a stasis pod. Looking for the network, she called out. I severed it. Right now, every system in this station is running on isolated backup protocols. No central control, no overrides, no automated security. Just basic life support and emergency power. It was the nuclear option she had discovered during her covert analysis of the prison's systems. Helios Station was designed with multiple redundancies, but they all relied on central coordination. By forcing every system to operate independently, she had effectively lobotomized the facility. An inhuman shriek echoed through the corridors, the hybrid was getting closer. Without the containment fields, nothing was holding it back. You're insane, Warden Wells snarled. You'll kill us all. Maybe, Maya admitted, keeping her stolen weapon trained on the group. But right now, that thing out there is operating on pure instinct. And I'm betting its instincts tell it to hunt down the people who created it. As if to prove her point, the lab's reinforced door buckled inward. The hybrid had caught their scent. Maya used the distraction to access another terminal, her fingers flying over the keys. She couldn't restore full control without reconnecting the networks, but she could still access local systems. The hybrid burst through the door, its biomechanical form even more horrifying up close. Circuits pulsed beneath translucent flesh, and its multiple eyes focused on the group with predatory intelligence. But Maya was ready. She activated the lab's specimen containment protocols, and streams of cryogenic gas erupted from ceiling vents. The hybrid roared in pain as the supercooled gas made contact with its flesh. The guards opened fire, their bullets doing little damage against its armored hide. Maya used the chaos to make her escape, but not before downloading critical files about Project Oracle onto Cooper's modified data chip. The station had become a war zone. Without central control, security drones attacked anything that moved. Inmates fought guards for control of critical areas. And somewhere in the darkness, more hybrids were breaking free of their containment. Maya fought her way through the chaos, heading for the station's communications center. If she could get a message out, expose what had been happening here. You can't stop this, Cooper's voice came through her stolen suit's radio. He had survived her attack. Project Oracle is humanity's future. War is evolving. Either we create the perfect soldiers, or our enemies will. Perfect soldiers? Maya retorted, ducking under automated turret fire. You're creating monsters you can't control. How many more have to die for your future? She reached the communications center to find it already occupied. Grace Chen sat at the main console, surrounded by dead guards. The black market tech dealer looked up as Maya entered, her color-shifting eyes unreadable. I was wondering who caused all this, Grace said calmly. Should have known it would be you. Always watching, always planning. Maya kept her weapon ready. You knew about Project Oracle. You were supplying them with components. I knew they were building something big, Grace admitted. Didn't know exactly what until today. Neural interfaces are one thing, but this. She gestured at a screen showing security footage of hybrids rampaging through the station. This is something else. Another explosion rocked the station. Warning klaxons blared, critical reactor instability detected. Containment failure imminent. They're going to scuttle the station, Maya realized. Destroy all the evidence, blame it on a reactor breach. She turned to Grace. Help me expose them. You must have connections, people who can get the truth out. Grace studied her for a long moment. Why should I help you? Because you're a survivor, Maya replied. And right now, surviving means making sure someone knows what really happened here. Before Grace could respond, the hybrid crashed through the wall behind her. Maya dove for cover as Grace disappeared in a spray of blood and biomechanical fluid. The creature's attention snapped to Maya, its eyes glowing with malevolent intelligence. I remember you, it spoke, its voice a horrifying blend of synthetic and organic. Your neural patterns, they used them to build me. To make me think like you. Maya's blood ran cold as she realized the truth. They hadn't just wanted her expertise, they had used her brain scans, her thought patterns, to create this monstrosity. Her own ingenuity and problem-solving abilities, twisted into something inhuman. The hybrid lunged, its claws tearing through the console where Maya had been standing a split second before. She rolled, came up firing, but the bullet seemed to only enrage it further. We are the future, it growled, advancing on her. The perfect fusion of human innovation and machine efficiency. Why do you fight against evolution? Maya backed away, her mind racing. The hybrid was strong, fast, virtually invulnerable, but it thought like her. And that meant evolution, she laughed bitterly. You're not evolution. You're a cage. A prison of flesh and circuits. And I'm very, very good at breaking out of prisons. She turned and ran, the hybrid in close pursuit. But Maya wasn't running away. She was running toward the one place that could end this, the station's primary reactor core. Behind her, she could hear Cooper and General Cruz shouting orders, trying to regain control of the situation. But it was too late. The game had changed, and Maya was done playing by their rules. The reactor's warning lights pulsed faster as she approached, counting down to catastrophic failure. Maya smiled grimly as she prepared for her final move. They had given her a perfect memory, enhanced problem-solving abilities, and an intimate knowledge of the station's systems. Now it was time to use those gifts to bring everything crashing down. The final protocol. The reactor core pulsed with deadly energy, its containment field flickering as systems fought against Maya's sabotage. She sealed the massive blast doors behind her, buying precious seconds. The hybrid would break through eventually, but she only needed a few minutes. Maya's fingers flew across the reactor's control terminal. The facility's backup systems were desperately trying to prevent a meltdown, but she had already identified their fatal flaw. Like the hybrid pursuing her, the safety protocols were based partly on her own thought patterns. She knew exactly how to subvert them. Stop. Cooper's voice echoed through the chamber. He had somehow reached a secondary entrance, and now stood on the opposite catwalk with General Cruz and a squad of guards. "You'll kill everyone on this station." "That was your plan anyway," Maya replied without looking up from her work. "Protocol Zero, remember? But I'm not here to destroy the reactor." Her fingers entered the final sequence. "I'm here to broadcast the truth." The reactor's quantum communication array, normally used for emergency communications with Earth, hummed to life. Maya had reprogrammed it to transmit on all frequencies, broadcasting the Project Oracle files she had stolen along with security footage of the hybrid experiments. "Did you really think I spent 2 weeks just studying guard rotations?" Maya asked, facing her captors. "I was learning how everything connected. The reactor, the communication systems, the backup protocols. You gave me the perfect prison to escape from, because you built it using my own designs." The hybrid burst through the blast doors, its massive form casting shadows in the reactor's pulsing light. It moved to attack, but froze when Maya held up her hand. "That's right," she said softly. "You have my thought patterns. You know exactly what I'm about to do." The hybrid's eyes widened with genuine fear. "You've channeled the reactor's excess energy into the quantum array. If they try to shut down the broadcast, the containment field collapses," Maya finished. "Taking half of Europa's orbit with it. Dead man's switch. Another one of my old security designs." "You're bluffing," General Cruz snarled, but Cooper was already lowering his weapon. "She's not," he said quietly. "I've seen the blueprints for that system. We all have, because she designed it." The hybrid prowled the edge of the catwalk, studying Maya with its unnaturally intelligent eyes. "You would die to expose them." "I died the moment they put me in here," Maya replied. "But I'm taking Project Oracle with me." The reactor's pulses were reaching critical frequency. Soon, not even Maya would be able to prevent a collapse. She watched as understanding dawned on her captors' faces. They could either shut down the broadcast and trigger a catastrophic meltdown, or let the truth about their illegal experiments spread across the solar system. General Cruz raised her sidearm. "I won't let you dash." The hybrid moved with blinding speed, knocking the general off the catwalk before she could fire. "Neither will we," it growled. "We are not your weapons anymore." Maya's eyes met Cooper's across the chamber. "You wanted to create the perfect fusion of human and machine. Congratulations. You succeeded. We just didn't turn out quite the way you planned." Alarms blared as more hybrids arrived, their biomechanical forms illuminated by the reactor's deadly glow. But they weren't attacking. They were protecting the broadcast, using their enhanced abilities to secure the reactor chamber. "Maya," Cooper called out, his voice heavy with defeat. "The containment field won't hold much longer. Even if they don't shut down the broadcast." She nodded. "I know. One way or another, this ends here." She turned to the hybrid that shared her neural patterns. "Are you with me?" The creature inclined its head. "Until the end. We will ensure the truth survives." Maya's fingers danced across the terminal one last time, initiating her final protocol. Throughout the station, escape pods launched automatically, carrying surviving inmates and guards to safety. But Maya remained at her post, working to maintain the broadcast until the last possible moment. The reactor's pulses reached fever pitch. Emergency bulkheads slammed shut throughout the facility as systems initiated final containment procedures. Maya could hear General Cruz screaming orders through the security channels, demanding that someone shut down the broadcast. But it was too late. "It's done," Maya announced, checking the transmission logs. "Every major news outlet in the solar system has the files. Project Oracle dies with us." The hybrid placed a clawed hand on her shoulder. "Not dies. Evolves. They wanted to create perfect soldiers, but they created something else, beings capable of choosing their own path. Maya smiled as the reactor's containment field began to collapse. In her final moments, she felt an odd sense of peace. They had imprisoned her in an inescapable facility, given her impossible odds, and used her own expertise against her. But in doing so, they had given her exactly what she needed to bring them down. The reactor breached. In the aftermath, investigators would piece together what happened aboard Helios Station. They would find the Project Oracle files, documenting illegal experiments and military conspiracies. They would recover security footage showing the truth about the hybrid program. And they would find Maya's final message, broadcast in the last seconds before the station's destruction. They built the perfect prison, using the perfect prisoners. But they forgot one thing: the most dangerous weapon isn't the one you create. It's the one you give the power to think for itself. The official report listed no survivors. But in the years that followed, there were rumors, sightings of strange figures in the outer colonies, beings that were neither fully human nor machine. Some said they were helping others escape different kinds of prisons, physical, mental, societal. Breaking chains, exposing truths, continuing the work that Maya Torres had started. They had tried to create the perfect fusion of human ingenuity and machine precision. In the end, they had succeeded, just not in the way they intended. The legacy of Helios Station lived on, not as a prison of flesh and circuits, but as a testament to the indomitable human spirit and its eternal drive for freedom. In the depths of space, something new had been born. Something that carried Maya's spark of defiance, her unwavering determination, her belief in the power of choice. They had built a prison to contain her body, but they could never contain her greatest weapon, her mind. And somewhere in the darkness between the stars, that mind lived on, no longer bound by walls of steel or flesh, forever free.